The late summer sun hung low over Willow Creek, a sleepy town nestled in the rolling hills of Tennessee. Its main street, lined with mom-and-pop shops and a single blinking stoplight, hadn't changed much since the 1960s. For the folks of Willow Creek, life moved at the pace of a lazy river, steady, predictable, and comforting, but in August 2025 that rhythm was about to be shattered. Clara Thompson, 68, sat on her porch, her silver hair catching the golden light as she sipped sweet tea. A retired school teacher, Clara was the heart of Willow Creek, known for her homemade peach cobbler and her knack for remembering every child she'd ever taught. Her days were filled with tending her garden and volunteering at the community center, where she organized book clubs and knitting circles. But lately her heart felt heavy. The town's only factory, Creek Textiles, had shut down, leaving half the town jobless. Worse, whispers of a new threat were spreading. A nearby dam, weakened by years of neglect, was at risk of bursting after heavy rains. If it failed, Willow Creek would be underwater. Across town at the edge of a dusty trailer park lived Marcus Mac Reynolds, a 72-year-old Vietnam War veteran. Mac was a loner, his weathered face etched with stories he rarely shared. He'd returned from the war a hero, awarded a Bronze Star for saving his platoon. But Willow Creek only knew him as the gruff man who fixed cars for cheap and kept to himself. His trailer was a shrine to his past, faded photos of his unit, a folded flag, and a small radio that played Johnny Cash on repeat. Mac didn't trust easily, not after the war, not after losing his wife to cancer a decade ago. But he had a sharp mind for mechanics and a heart that, though guarded, still beat for others. Clara and Mac were as different as could be. She, a pillar of the community, warm and open. He, a recluse who avoided the town's gossip. Their paths rarely crossed, save for the occasional nod at the general store. But fate, as it often does, had other plans. It started with a flat tire. Clara's old Buick sputtered to a stop on the outskirts of town near Mac's trailer. She'd been delivering meals to shut-ins when the tire gave out. With no cell service and the sun dipping low, Clara knocked on Mac's door, her usual confidence tinged with hesitation. She'd heard the rumors about Mad Mac, but she had no choice. Mac answered, his gray eyes narrowing. "What's the trouble, ma'am?" His voice was gravelly, like he hadn't spoken all day. Clara explained, expecting a quick dismissal. Instead, Mac grabbed his toolbox and followed her to the car. As he worked, Clara noticed the precision in his movements, the way he muttered to himself about torque and tread. Curiosity got the better of her. "You fix things like you were born to it," she said. Mac grunted, but a faint smile tugged at his lips. "Learned in the army. Kept our trucks running through hell and back." Clara's eyes softened. "My brother was in Vietnam. Never talked much about it, but he said folks like you kept them alive." Mac paused, his wrench still. For the first time in years, someone had seen past the rumors. "Just did my job," he mumbled. But Clara's warmth had cracked something open. That evening, over a glass of Clara's sweet tea, they talked. Not about the weather or the town's woes, but about life. Her years teaching kids to dream, his years fixing machines to survive. It was the start of something neither expected, a friendship. Days later, the town's worst fears were confirmed. At a tense meeting in the community center, the mayor revealed that the Willow Creek Dam was critically unstable. Engineers had warned that a breach was imminent and evacuation plans were shaky. Many residents, especially the elderly, couldn't leave easily. The room buzzed with panic, but no one had a solution. Clara, sitting in the front row, felt helpless. Mac, leaning against the back wall, listened silently, his mind racing. After the meeting, Clara found Mac outside, staring at the stars. "You look like you're thinking hard," she said. Mac nodded. "That dam's a beast, but it's just a machine. Machines can be fixed or outsmarted." Clara raised an eyebrow. "You got a plan?" "Not yet," he admitted. "But I've seen worse odds." Over the next week, Clara and Mac became an unlikely team. She rallied the town, organizing volunteers and supplies, while he pored over old blueprints of the dam, borrowed from the county office. His military training kicked in, years of improvising under pressure, of finding solutions when hope seemed lost. He noticed a flaw in the dam's spillway design. It wasn't releasing water fast enough. If they could redirect the flow, they might buy time to reinforce the structure. But the plan required manpower, equipment, and trust, things Willow Creek was short on. The factory closure had fractured the community, and skepticism ran high. Why should they trust Mac, the outsider, or Clara, whose optimism seemed naive? Clara refused to give up. She knocked on doors, shared her cobbler, and told stories of Mac's heroism in Vietnam, not to glorify him but to show he was one of them. Slowly, the town listened. Young mechanics, out-of-work factory hands, and even skeptical old-timers joined the effort. Mac led them with quiet authority, teaching them to rig a temporary bypass for the spillway using scrap metal and borrowed pumps. Clara kept spirits high, organizing potlucks and prayer circles at the worksite. One evening, as they worked under floodlights, a young volunteer, Tommy, asked Mac why he cared so much. "You don't even come to town much," Tommy said. Mac looked at Clara, who was passing out coffee to the crew. "Some folks remind you what's worth fighting for," he said simply. The work wasn't easy. Rain battered the site and the dam groaned under the strain. One night, a section of the bypass collapsed and panic spread. Mac climbed into the muddy trench himself, barking orders to secure the pipes. Clara, defying her age, hauled sandbags alongside the younger volunteers. Their grit inspired the others, and by dawn, the bypass held. The final test came on a stormy night, with the dam's water levels at their peak. The town gathered on a hill, watching as the bypass roared to life. Mac's calculations were precise. The redirected water eased the pressure and the dam held. Cheers erupted and Clara threw her arms around Mac, tears mixing with rain on her face. "We did it," she whispered. Mac, usually stoic, let out a rare chuckle. "Your trouble, Clara Thompson." The next morning, as the sun broke through the clouds, Willow Creek was still standing. The town threw a celebration at the community center with music, laughter, and Clara's cobbler. Mac, uncomfortable with the attention, slipped outside, but Clara found him. "You're a hero, you know," she said. He shook his head. "Just a guy who fixed a pipe? You're the one who got him to believe." Clara smiled. "Takes two to build a bridge." Years later, Willow Creek thrived again. The dam was properly repaired, the factory reopened, and the town's spirit was stronger than ever. Clara and Mac remained close, sharing tea on her porch, swapping stories of the past. Their friendship had sparked something bigger, a reminder that kindness, trust, and courage could save more than a town. They could heal a community. At the community center, a plaque now hangs, inscribed with a simple truth. To Clara and Mac, who showed us that heroes walk among us, quietly building bridges. This story isn't just about Clara and Mac, it's about the unsung heroes in every town, the folks who step up when the world feels heavy. We all know someone like them, don't we? Maybe it's a neighbor who checks in, a veteran who serves in silence, or a friend who lifts your spirits. Share their story in the comments below. Let's celebrate the kindness and courage that bind us together. Hit that like button, share this video, and let's inspire the world to build more bridges.